Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. It's all about racing. In this episode, we're going to take a look at a Porsche 956 Group C race car. This is made by Quartzo, and as you can see, I purchased 4 of these. They are 143 scale. They are die-cast. They come mounted to these rather unspectacular plastic bases that you see here. They do have a acrylic jewel cover, and they come in this box that you see here. Now, Quartzo is a Portuguese manufacturer. They are a division of Vitesse, and Quartzo is similar to CMR, being related to IXO, and for Minimax being related to Spark. Quartzo is the same way. However, I think their cars are more detailed than those of Vitesse, and I have not purchased any Vitesse because I didn't like them. This particular car is number Q3076. It's a Porsche 956 Longtail, the American 100 of this, Le Mans 1985. I do not know when these cars were made. I bought them secondhand, but the boxes look well used, and they do look old. And some of the paint on this particular car is even flaking at some spots. But overall, the finish is good. The hand craftsmanship, for the most part, is good. Detail is not exceptional, but it is not bad. And if you like these cars, and I love these cars, and I just had to buy them, Quartz and Vitesse make the vast majority of the 956s and the 963. Other companies like Spark and HPI make them as well. And I am looking at purchasing a couple of those. I just have not pulled the trigger on it yet. But I got a really good deal on these. All 4 of them I got for less than $100, which I considered pretty good, even secondhand. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about this car and what you should know about it. This is a Porsche 956. This was a Group C race car. This was designed by Robert Singer and built by Porsche in 1982. In this particular car in 1988, Stefan Bellof set the world record, which stood for 35 years, lapping the Nürburgring in 6 minutes, 11.13 seconds. Not bad. Timo Bernhard beat it in a Porsche 911 Evo in June of 2018. Nothing stands forever, right? This car features a 2.65-liter Porsche 935 turbocharged flat 6. Its chassis is aluminum monocoque. Its transmission is a 5-speed manual. It weighs only 1,764 pounds and produces 635 horsepower. That's a lot for a car that only weighs 1,764. Only 28 of these were built from 1982 to 1984. What made this unique is this was the first Porsche to have ground effect aerodynamics. This Porsche 956 has 3 times more downforce than the Porsche 917, which first won Le Mans in 1970. In fact, the Rothmans Porsche, which is one of the factory Porsche 956, is mounted upside down at the Porsche Museum to symbolize its legendary downforce. Now, this particular car, if you'll notice, this is what is called the longtail version. And this was designed specifically for tracks where you didn't need as much drag, like Le Mans, which this car competed in. This particular car, I think if you take a look at it, you'll notice it's very, very sharp. I love the livery with the white front, the red rear, and the gold stripe going down the back. The white and red wheels, I think, are kind of unique. And one thing you'll notice on here, if you can see, these are Yokohama tires. You don't see that on many cars. Yokohama, Newsweek primary sponsor. You can see the tailpipe coming out, right there under the number 33. This is a mid-engine car. You can see it's mounted right behind the driver's cockpit. That is where your engine is. The cockpit is extremely small, not uncommon for cars like these prototype cars. We draw this around. You can see some interior detail. As I mentioned, it's not exceptional. Notice that the mirrors are mounted very, very high, right up here on the side of the cockpit. Kind of odd that they mounted them there. You have one windshield wiper. And one thing you'll notice here, we'll take a look in the cabin. You can see there are 2 seats in there. Now, there's both the driver and a passenger. The driver is seated on what I would call the passenger side of the car. You can see the blue belts in the steering wheel there. John Fitzpatrick Racing along the top of the windshield banner. American 100s, number 33. And if you take a look at this thing, I mean, look how sleek and aero that thing was. And imagine the air going down here, coming out right above the rear wing and flowing over. I mean, just incredibly well designed. You see the tow hook mounted into the nose there. Beautiful design. You know, no wonder this car was so successful. In fact, in 1983, it placed 1, 2, and 3 in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And I think of the 10 finishers, it had 8 of the Porsches were in the top 10. I mean, it just dominated Le Mans in 1983, even though this was not one of those cars, not this particular model. I noticed this one did not have any aerials on it, which I thought is odd. I don't know if they overlooked this or if it's just a cost-saving thing. You can remove this from the base. In fact, I did do it. The car does roll. It's only attached with 1 screw, so it's fairly easy to pull off. I don't like doing it because the mirrors that you can see up here are very fragile, and I fear snapping them and breaking them, taking off the base. And I normally don't take any car off the base. But since this thing has no aerials, and that the fact that the rear wing is metal and it's firm, it's not plastic, it's not likely to break. You know, if you're one that likes to do that sort of thing, you can do it with these cars. I would just be careful of the mirror. Now here's a look at the rear, and one of the things that you'll see here, and one of the mistakes, I guess you could say, is notice that this particular taillight is mounted crookedly. You know, obviously they did not glue it in place properly when they did. And this is showing a bit of its age. You can see on the American 100s on the rear wing some of the paint starting to flake off of that. I do not know how old these particular cars are. I couldn't tell you that. As I said, I bought them secondhand. They were used, even though I thought they were in very, very good shape for used cars. And apparently, you know, they weren't played with. They were used for display. So folks, what do you think of the American 100s number 33 Porsche 956? I hope you have found this video informative, and I am going to review the other 3 cars that you see there, the number 7, the number 10, and the number 19 in due time. Anyhow, that wraps up this version of It's All About Racing and the first of the Porsche 956s.